All right, I am out in Riverton. I'd like to welcome in Coach Piper to the podcast this week. It's not a typical conversation that I have at this point in the year, but I think it's important to highlight the exciting parts of what you guys are doing and the positive parts. So let's just start with, as we enter week 7, how are you feeling and how's this year been going for you?
It's been really good. Just positive. It's different from everything they're used to. Our 2 seniors, they won 1 game as sophomores, and they watched us win games when they were freshmen, but they've never won really any sport, had consistent success. So it's really good for us. You see the community, the stands are packed, and there's a lot of benefits we're seeing right now.
Last time we talked, the conversation was about the decision to do it, and there's a lot of negativity around that in terms of saying, okay, this is it, the program's done, all this stuff. At what point did it kind of turn for you where you said, okay, I know it's the right decision, but now people realize that this is the right decision? Was there a moment or a week in particular that you can kind of point to?
Yeah, I think week 1 we played a really physical Pittsfield team, and we had 2 seniors and a junior on the offensive line, and they couldn't move people. So to see one hey, it fits what we're doing, and 2, we didn't have a lot of kids that knew how to win a game, and we won that one on the last play of the game through a touchdown to Ethan Giberson, and just seeing, hey, we're playing a JV season, we have a JV team, and we just won on the last play against a pretty physical, good JV team. It was okay, maybe this is where we should be, and all the success after that, it's just been extra on top. So,
what was the feeling from the kids, especially those 2 seniors, as you went into this year preparing, knowing, okay, we're just playing JV, so it's different? What was their attitude like, and how did you get them to kind of buy into that decision?
Those 2, Tristan Tolley and Andrew Watson, they're just dreams to coach. Tristan, it took him 1.5 years before I could get him to speak words to me. He's just quiet, super good kid, and seeing him kind of turn into a leader, and he's getting on guys now, and he's coming to me at halftime saying, hey, we can't play this kid anymore. Seeing the growth from those 2, and Andrew in another way, he was one that was more, you could always hear his voice no matter how far away he was, and now we don't have to tell him to stop talking during games, and he's also getting on some of the younger linemen about, hey, this effort isn't what we need today, and just seeing it be positive for them is really, really good to see.
For you as a head coach, like you said, to have these 2 guys as players is a dream. Is that part of the reason why you keep doing it, why it's so enjoyable for you, because you are making an impact and you can see that, okay, if I can get to these 2 guys, then they can get to a couple more guys, and we can continue to grow this a little bit? Yeah,
absolutely. And look, we want our senior class to be bigger, but it wasn't very big when they came in as freshmen. But yeah, just to see them just speak up, and you knew coming here, hey, we're not going to compete for a state championship. And I was so frustrated my first couple of years, just okay, I'm calling the same stuff that Derek is, and it's not working the same way. You start to see, after a couple of years, the positives that you can get from an 0-9, 1-8 season. And it's the relationships, it's the kids that reach out after a win years later. And we've had a lot of them that still reach out, so that's awesome to see too.
I want to talk a little bit more about this season and this team in particular. We talked about the seniors a little bit, but what is the buy-in like from the rest of the team as they see you know, we have to make these steps in order to get to where we want to be, in order to get back to competing in the Saginaw, because like you said, there's teams in the Saginaw that expect to win state championships every year. That's not you guys yet, but at that point where if these kids continue to build the foundation for it, it's something that in the Saginaw Conference it's achievable if you could win 5 games.
Yeah, so just a little bit about our guys. And I told everyone when we made the decision and going into the season, like, look, our sophomores are going to be really good, skilled players. And right now I think we're almost every skill spot's a sophomore. Mason Reynolds has been just killing it on both sides of the ball. He's a junior, and he's a kid that we couldn't put on the field for 2 years, really. And just the maturity you've seen. He's actually a captain now, and it was something that we didn't think we were ever going to see that side of Mason. So he's been just doing an incredible job. His grades are awesome right now. He's a lot easier to talk to. But really, skill player wise, other than that, we're pretty much sophomores across the board. And some of them, you know, those kids as 8th graders, I think they lost to Metamora in the state championship in basketball. So they've had success in other sports, and they know how to win, and they care. I mean, they are a really special group. They remind me a lot of the class we had a couple years ago. And that group, I mean, never lost a JFL game. With these sophomores, I don't know if any of them did play JFL, so they really are. This is their first true football season. So to see those guys, and they'll kill it in basketball too. Some of them were playing last year as freshmen, and that's just a group that really across the whole district athletically, we're just really excited for them to see what they can do the next couple of years.
And within a district and a program like this, like you said, if you have a group like that, it not only builds a foundation for this team and for the next couple of years, but the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders see that group and they're like, oh man, it's possible, we can do this, and we have the resources here, we have the coaching here, we compete in the same conference, so we just need to put the work in and see those results.
Yeah, and we're seeing it too with the younger groups. Right now, every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, you know, we're in the weight room at 6, and we have a chunk of probably 6 or so 7th, 8th grade kids that are there every day working with these kids. And I know that the 7th grade and 8th grade class has some kids that can play. And that's where having a class like these sophomores is so beneficial, because that's who those kids are looking out to right now. And really, some of our older kids that were halfway in, halfway out, you know, they see, you know, Tristan and Andrew were speaking up, but a lot of our leadership comes from 15-year-olds. So I think some of them were feeling a little bit of pressure and getting pushed, and hey, am I going to lose my spot to a younger kid? So that group means a lot to us right now.
All right, hand up. This is probably an ignorant question because we deal with a lot of different teams and programs, but in the past, how successful has Riverton JV been compared to this year, and do you see a difference?
Well, I couldn't tell you the last time we played a full JV season.
Okay.
I know we played, going back to probably 2018, when Zach Hines and Mellenbeck and some of those guys were freshmen. I think they probably played a full freshman schedule. But from 2017 till now, I don't know if we played 2 full seasons, you know, multiple levels ever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what sucks right now is we are just playing JV. We were a couple freshmen away from being able to pull off both of those, but that's kind of the goal going forward is, all right, so what levels are we playing, because it needs to be multiple. But, overall, winning cures a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we are seeing that already, and we hope to see it going into next year, too.
for you, obviously it's great. For the kids, it's great. What is it like? What has it been like for the community? Have you seen the support there and the excitement level again? Because obviously, I mean, people aren't dumb. They understand it's JV, but at the same time, they want to see these kids win. They want to see them be successful, and they want to have something to cheer for and cheer about.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, probably the two best crowds I've ever seen for a Riverton football game were JV games this year.
Yeah.
When we played Williamsville, people were parking on the side of Lincoln Street. Like, there was no parking spots. All of the coaches' cars were boxed in. So to see that and to see the stands were actually packed, which hasn't been like that for years. So yeah, and there's some stuff on Facebook too, where community group, whatever, where there's guys that are saying like, hey, we got a game this day, this time, we have to be there because we were so mad when everything got canceled, then we better be there to support them.
Yeah.
And it's working, and winning again helps that. But yeah, I mean, playing in front of empty stands is a lot different than when it is full. And I mean, our kids have responded to that. They expect it now. So.
Well, there's so much that goes into that too. Like the kids who, like you said, maybe are on the fence and aren't out. Well, if everybody in the town is at these games on those nights, they have nothing else to do. They're probably sitting there like, oh, dang, I wish I would have went there. Like, they don't want to sit in the stands and watch. They want to be a part of that.
Right, and I mean, everybody wants to win. Nobody really wants to sign up for stuff where you don't think you're going to win any games. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been. I think we actually had like a student section a little bit,
yeah.
Which I've never seen here. But then after the game, seeing all those kids come on the track and everyone's taking pictures and all that stuff, which is normal for other people, but we've never really seen it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of kids that are on the fence that are seeing every week, like, okay, maybe if we get another packed crowd, maybe I'll look at this next year. And I mean, honestly, if you're on the fringe, I mean, now is the time to do it. We're having success. We're going to return 98% of our roster, and everything's positive right now. So if you're on the fence, come on out.
One more little thing to touch on with that, and I'm going to ask you because I don't quite understand all the details of it, but I have a question about it in terms of, the community involvement and the success. And, to run a football program the right way and successfully, you got to have some money, you got to have some boosters, you got to have all those sort of parent clubs and that stuff. So getting people out to games, number one, is going to get you more money for that, and that's only going to continue to grow the program. I mean, I think people just think that you're just given everything and it's handed to you, and that's not the case. Like, you have to raise money to be able to do those type of things.
Yeah, no, football's really expensive. So yeah, I mean, and again with the crowds and everybody coming, I don't even know if we're charging gate for JV games. We should be if we're not, but yeah, I mean.
But you're still concessions. You're still, business owners in the community will see that people are involved in that and want to be a part.
And anytime, people talk about winners, so when that happens, it's going to spread and it's going to keep getting bigger, and it's just on us to keep the ball rolling right now.
What's been the biggest challenge for you this year?
Not being able to watch film all day. Not getting film is weird. Obviously, there's ways to still get it, with NFHS and all that, but it's not the same as Huddle. But I mean, how much film are other JV teams watching? So we don't want to put ourselves in that spot, but you just want to know as a coach, like, hey, what are we going to get?
Yeah.
In reality, after 3-4 plays, you probably can figure it out.
Yeah.
But that and the schedule every week is, I mean, your whole week right now revolves around Monday, which is weird because
complete opposite of Friday.
It's tough to go to bed Monday night after the game, especially when you're used to being up after games on Fridays, and then you have Saturday and Sunday. It's really tough coming in Tuesday morning, but I mean, we probably had 20 kids in the weight room this morning coming off the game. So, I mean, I think they're doing fine. I mean, they're kids. They know it's not normal, but nothing is normal, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'd say the schedule is probably number one for me.
What do you see as the next step? What, obviously, like you said, winning helps a lot of things, but what is your timeline in your head of where this can go, and do you need to go, okay, we're going to have another JV season next year. If we have the same success, then we're going to try to get back. Like, what do you think that realistic timeline is?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now our biggest focus is how many different ways can we convince a kid to come out and play. Because, you know, if we graduate to, let's say we have 12 in, you know, the 8th grade class coming in next year, well, that puts us in a lot better spot. I think the issue is, you know, we played, I think, 6 different kids on the O-line last night, 4 of them were freshmen. So one is, yeah, we need to get more bodies out. And after Pittsfield, after that win, we had 3-4 guys come out, and then we win another one, and there's a couple more, and then we go to the wire, get tackled at the 10-yard line as time runs out against Williamsville, and you know there's another wave. So just trying to build off of that, and you know now it's weird because we're getting to week 6, 7, and you're like, well, this kid's really good, and it's the first time he can play football in his life, and in 2 weeks it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we want to get back to playing varsity football, but end of the day, we made this decision based on health and safety, and that's always going to come first for me. You know, and we've had people reach out about a co-op, and I think that's definitely something that we need to look at. Whoever it is, I'm sure there's some lineman bodies, and we're a handful of those away from being, we could have played this year, but yeah, I mean, end of the day, we just got to keep doing what we do and focusing on ourselves and turning it into wins, and hopefully that's enough to get enough kids out.
What is the feeling like for you, knowing that this was the right decision and you can see it going in the right direction? I mean, it easily could have gone either way at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's breath of fresh air. You know, you look at the last 2 years, we were 1-17. We probably got running clock 15 times. So seeing kids that are actually excited to really attack every single day, it's not what we're used to. So being able just to go day by day and see, hey, these kids, and that's a quote Coach Hartlob says all the time is, hey, don't get bored, getting better. And that's really what we're doing right now. I haven't thought about it a ton as far as was it right or wrong, because in the back of my head it was like, this is the only option.
Yeah.
But for it to still be a positive thing, and you know, you're getting texts every week, and now I got some other schools saying, hey, we want to play you guys in JV, and it's like, all right, well, we still have the schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, we're looking at adding something week 9 just to get, you know, another opportunity to get better.
What's it like for you coming from Rochester and watching what Derek's done there, what you did there, and then seeing that, you know, it doesn't just happen. It's not just something that if you show up, it'll just magically appear.
Yeah. You know, even going through it and playing, you know, and actually winning 4 titles there, it didn't really feel that real. But now, you know, we're 10 years out from my senior year, and it's like, did that even happen? Was that real? Because it doesn't make sense. They're so good at what they do, and I know they're having quote unquote down year
They
right
lost
now.
2 games already. Yeah, watch out.
They're gonna be fine, you know. If Zoo doesn't go down, I think they beat Ritter. You know, and it sucks for that kid because, you know, seeing him do what he did last year, and obviously you never want to see a senior miss out on, you know, a chance to play. But yeah, I mean it was a hard transition. Like I said, when I was 21 in 2017, and I'm trying to game plan against Athens, I'm like, they're wing T. It's a 1A, 2A school. We'll be fine. They were really good.
Yeah, kids like Drake Davis out there running.
Yeah, I was like, Derek, this kid could be your best receiver
Yeah.
right now, and it's just. It's crazy that they've continued it too, but you look at who's over there. I mean, it's the best staff that there is,
Yeah.
and nobody's leaving.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about all those guys. I mean, Derek's texting me like every Tuesday wanting to know what the score was and all that stuff. Those guys have always been so great to me, and I mean, I was like 12 when I met him, so. Yeah, it's cool to see him continue, like every Tuesday wanting to know what the score was and all that stuff. Those guys have always been so great to me. And I mean, I was like 12 when I met him. So, yeah, it's cool to see him continue it. And there's definitely nothing fluky about that. That's pretty insane success. So.
As you, like you said, you look back on it now and you won 4, I mean, there's not many people in this world that can say they won 4 state titles in high school football. Like you said, did you even realize it then? Like, was it like, what was that like? Just being like, okay, yeah, we have to go win another one. And we're going
Yeah, I mean the pressure we had. I feel like senior year, the pressure was real. I mean, it was like we cannot let. But I mean, I don't know how many kids in my class I was great friends with had older brothers that were on that 2010 team that was the first one to win it. So it's like, well, you can't end the streak, you know. But there was a lot of pressure for sure. But yeah, like you said, going back to 2010, freshman year, get on the bus to come home from Champaign, and I'm like halfway like depressed because I'm like, well, life can't get better than that, right? And yeah, and I don't even know how we did it, how they managed to will us to do it, but I mean, it's hard to explain.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'm glad we can report on the positive part of this because, you know, like I said, I was worried, and like you said, player safety is first and foremost. So that's what you're doing here, and now you're starting to see the benefits. You're starting to see it in the right direction. So hopefully we can keep this moving forward. So thank you for your time, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Awesome, appreciate you coming on, man.